Of course you feel depressed if your reality is depressing. If your reality is fantastic, you don't feel depressed. I guarantee there's a whole bunch of people you can give $1 million to and the depression will disappear. The argument against that is why the famous people kill themselves, which I'm about to answer in a second. And the answer to that is actually going into the broader point that the way the Matrix teaches about depression, they're trying to teach you to be helpless. They're teaching you that you cannot fight against it unless you take pharmaceutical drugs. And I say that it is not real in that paradigm, and that believing that is the case is going to destroy you. Having no hope will prevent you from fighting back. They're telling you it's hopeless, and it is not. If you do not believe in depression, like I do not believe in depression, no matter what bad things happen to me and how bad and depressed I feel, I know I can fix it. That will make me fight harder than if I believe I cannot fix it. The reason that rich people kill themselves is because they buy into this paradigm completely. They go to a therapist, and the therapist says, you have depression. It's not your fault. It's a disease that nobody can fix, and I can't help, and nobody can help. Then they give them a bunch of mind-altering drugs. Then they sit them there in therapy to talk about all the bad thing that's ever happened to them. Let me tell you something. If someone told me that I felt shit and I couldn't help it no matter what I did about my life, gave me a bunch of mind-altering drugs, and then sat me down to repeat all the bad shit that ever happened to me for hours and hours a day, I'd kill myself. It gets to a point where it just ain't fucking worth breathing anymore if you're gonna believe in that bollocks. But if you wake up and go, you know what? They're saying this is a disease, but I don't accept that paradigm. I don't believe in it. I believe that I can fix this myself. I believe if I change my reality and create an experience of life that I am absolutely not really satisfied by, I will no longer feel depressed. You will cure most of your own problems. Take two men, put them in two individual haunted houses. Haunted houses. One believes in ghosts, one doesn't. There's a loud noise in the night. The one who believes in ghosts wakes up and is paranoid, is afraid, can't sleep, is sitting in the corner of the room shaking. The one who doesn't believe in ghosts goes back to sleep. It is the belief in the ghost which punishes him, not the ghost itself. If you do not believe in depression, you can never be depressed. That's why I don't believe in it.
Have you struggled with any mental health issues yourself? Because, you know, one thing also I noticed about you, from one side when you talk, you seem like very positive about life. But I've seen clips of you where you say like, sometimes I feel you say enjoy everything and, you know, always be happy, or like always be like positive. But then in some parts of you say like, I was angry when I was broke. I had to get rich.
Yeah.
I needed to get rich. I was furious.
I couldn't sleep when I was broke. And this is what we're talking about, the being uncomfortable and how it can motivate you. When I didn't have enough money to buy whatever I wanted, I couldn't fall asleep at night because I understood there are people out there that did, and I didn't see them as better than me. And I thought, why are these people who I don't see as my superior living an experience that I can't live? And it bothered me to the point where I could not sleep. So yeah, that was real. When you talk about suffering mentally, I don't really consider that suffering. I have had a very painful life. I still think to a degree I do, but that's self-inflicted. But I can't imagine living any other way. I can't imagine living in this idea, this utopian, every day, just, you know, girls, drink, hedonism. I don't want that. Yeah, it's degenerate. I think the only thing you can do that's not degenerate is usually be fighting a battle or solving a problem.
Growth.
Yeah, growth. Yeah, so you need to either fight a battle or solve a problem to avoid degeneracy, which means I'm constantly looking for them. I'm currently in one of the largest battles a man can possibly take on. I'm taking on the Matrix, the most powerful people on the planet.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah, is my life difficult? Yeah. Am I complaining about that? No. In fact, I'd hate it for it to be any other way.
A lot of teens or young people or even adults, they're suffering from a lot of mental health issues.
Okay.
And what's your advice to them?
The world is hyper-competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to No, you are not. You're not allowed to up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform.
This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only.